Imagine a world so corrupt, so lost in darkness, that heaven itself could no longer bear it. A world drowning in sin, until one man caught the eye of God. His name? Enoch. And what he saw would change everything. Long before the flood swallowed the earth, before judgment rained down on the wicked, there was a man unlike any other. Enoch, son of Jared, father of Methuselah, was righteous in a world rotting with rebellion. He didn't just believe in God, he walked with him. And because of that, the Most High chose him, not for death, but for revelation. One night, in his 365th year, Enoch lay restless in his bed. His heart ached, his tears fell, though he didn't know why. Then, light. Two beings stood before him, faces blazing like the sun, eyes like fire, wings shimmering gold. These weren't men. These were messengers of the eternal. Courage, Enoch, they said. Do not fear. The Lord sends us. Today, you ascend to heaven. Think of that moment. The terror. The awe. The weight of those words. You will see what no mortal has seen. Enoch knew he might never return. So he called his sons, his family, and spoke his last earthly words. Turn from sin. Cling to God. And do not search for me, until the Lord brings me back. Then, the angels took him. Not in death. In glory. And as the earth shrank beneath him, Enoch's journey began. Straight into the first heaven. The secrets of the sky. Enoch's feet left the earth, and suddenly, he was standing on clouds. Not the wispy, fleeting kind, but a vast, unshakable floor beneath him. The first heaven stretched out, a realm of wonders no human had ever touched. And what he found there defied imagination. The angels carried Enoch upward, and the first thing he saw was a sea, but not like any ocean on earth. This was a celestial sea, boundless and shimmering, its waters alive with a light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Above it, the ether hummed, a veil between the lower world and the mysteries beyond. Then came the rulers of the stars. 200 angels, radiant as lightning, stood before him. These were no gentle messengers. They were commanders of the cosmos, each entrusted with a star's path, its fire, its purpose. Their wings roared like storms as they moved, guiding the heavenly bodies with flawless precision. Enoch watched, breathless, as they wove the sky into order. But the angels didn't stop there. They showed him the treasuries, the hidden storehouses of creation. The treasure of snow, a cavern of endless white, guarded by silent, stern-faced angels. Here, every flake was counted, every storm ordained before it fell. The treasure of dew, a garden of liquid light, where oil and honey flowed like rivers, ready to nourish the earth at God's command. Imagine standing there, like a child let into a king's vault, watching as the very elements obeyed their maker. Enoch must have trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer weight of it all. This wasn't just beauty. This was power. The kind that shaped seasons, that fed nations, that whispered life into barren ground. And yet, this was only the beginning. The angels turned to him. Come, they said. There is more. Then they pulled him higher, into the second heaven, into darkness. The prison of the damned. The light vanished. The air turned thick. Enoch's breath caught in his chest as the first heaven's radiance faded behind him, and before him stretched a darkness so deep, so heavy, it seemed to swallow existence itself. This was no treasury. This was a prison. No stars. No singing. Just a void, trembling with the echoes of weeping. The second heaven was a place of chains, of angels who had once blazed with glory, now bound in shadows. Their faces, once bright as the sun, were withered. Their eyes, hollow. Their wings, broken. Enoch staggered back. Why are they tormented like this? The guiding angels' voices dropped low. These are the rebels. The ones who abandoned their posts. They saw the earth, and they lusted after it. Then came the most chilling sound of all, a whisper from the darkness. Enoch, man of God, pray for us. The plea slithered through the gloom, desperate. But the angels beside him shook their heads. Their judgment is fixed. Not even your prayers can undo what they chose. Imagine the weight of that moment. These weren't just fallen angels, they were Enoch's brethren, beings created for glory, now rotting in their own regret. And the terror wasn't just theirs, it was contagious. If heaven's own could fall so far, what hope did earth have? Yet even here, Enoch saw the mercy in the judgment. God hadn't erased them. He'd contained them. The wickedness wouldn't spread further. The angels gripped Enoch's arms. Do not linger here, they warned. And with a rush of wind, they tore him upward again, toward a place where the very air was made of joy, toward the third heaven.
Paradise unseen. Then light, fragrance, a sweetness so thick in the air Enoch could taste it. After the suffocating dark of the second heaven, this was like breathing for the first time. The third heaven didn't just surround him, it sang to him. The shift was violent in its beauty. One moment, Enoch stood in a void of weeping shadows. The next, he was drowning in color. The trees, not just trees, but living things, their branches heavy with fruit that glowed from within, their leaves shimmered like beaten gold, their trunks wrapped in what looked like fire, but no heat burned him, only warmth, only peace. The scent, honey, wine, oil, flowers whose names didn't exist on earth, every breath was a feast. The sound, not just birdsong, but a harmony so pure it made his bones ache. 300 angels moved through the garden, their voices weaving a song that had no beginning, no end. And at the center of it all, the tree of life. Its roots plunged into the earth below, its crown brushing the throne of God. This was where the Lord himself walked when he visited paradise. Enoch reached out then froze, "Can I?" The angels shook their heads, "Not yet, this is prepared for the righteous for those who endure." This wasn't just a garden. It was home. The kind of home every human soul secretly remembers and aches for. Enoch's fingers must have trembled with the need to touch it, to stay. But the angels were already pulling him away. "There is more," they said. And the way they said it, it wasn't a promise, it was a warning. The further they climbed, the heavier the air grew. Not with perfume now. With smoke the fourth heaven waited, and with it, the secrets of the sun. The fourth heaven, the sun's fury. The air burned. Not with warmth, with fury. Enoch squinted against the glare as the third heaven's gentle light gave way to something older, wilder. This wasn't just a sun. This was a living fire, harnessed by the hands of angels. The fourth heaven wasn't a place, it was a machine. A colossal, roaring engine of light and time. The chariot of fire. The sun wasn't just a ball of gas here. It rode on a wheel of wind, spinning so fast Enoch's eyes couldn't follow. Flames licked its edges, but they didn't consume, they obeyed. The gates, 6 to the east, 6 to the west, each one a mouth swallowing and spitting out the sun in precise, measured hours. Enoch watched as angels, thousands of them, guided its path, adjusting its heat like scribes correcting a sacred text. The guardians, phoenixes with lion's feet and crocodile heads, their feathers reflecting every color at once. They weren't beasts, they were keepers, ensuring the sun never burned too hot, never cooled too soon. Then came the most terrifying sight, the sun's descent into the underworld. "It goes under the earth." Enoch gasped. The angels nodded. "For 7 hours, it fights the darkness, and every dawn it wins." This wasn't just astronomy. This was war. The sun wasn't just a light, it was a soldier, battling the void each night to keep creation alive. And the cost was written in its flames, the scars of a fight Enoch had never known existed. As the angels led him onward, Enoch glanced back one last time just as the sun vanished into the western gates. Into the belly of the earth, into the fifth heaven, where worse things waited.
The fifth heaven, the Watcher's agony. The higher they climbed, the heavier the silence grew. No songs. No wind. Just a suffocating stillness, like the air before a storm. Then Enoch saw them. The Watchers. And their eyes were the worst part. The fifth heaven was a barracks without banners, a throne room stripped of its king. The Grigori, 200 beings, taller than mountains, their faces gaunt as starved wolves. These were no lowly rebels. These were princes of heaven, now hunched in the shadows, their once bright armor rusted with time. The silence, no curses. No please. Just a mute, shaking terror as they stared at Enoch, through him, as if he were a ghost from a life they'd burned to ash. One broke the silence. You walk with them?" A skeletal finger pointed at Enoch's angelic guides. "Then ask him. Ask if it was worth it. The daughters of men. The children we sired. The giants who shook the earth." His voice cracked. "Ask if he remembers their bones." The angels beside Enoch stiffened. They chose their fate, they said. But Enoch saw it, the flicker of grief in their eyes. This wasn't just punishment. This was mourning. The Watchers weren't just suffering, they were haunted. By the wives they'd taken. The sons they'd buried. The world they'd broken. And worst of all, they still loved them. Enoch opened his mouth, to pray, to scream, when a sound cut through the dark. A trumpet, from above, the sixth heaven was calling. The sixth heaven, the architects of time. A sound like shattering glass, and suddenly, Enoch wasn't just seeing the sixth heaven. He was drowning in it. Colors that didn't have names. Music that wasn't made for human ears. And everywhere, the architects. The sixth heaven wasn't a place, it was a living blueprint. The celestial scribes, 7 bands of angels, each brighter than 1,000 suns, moved through the expanse like living constellations. Their bodies were made of light, their fingers tracing paths in the air, and where they touched, stars flared to life. The books of seasons, massive pulsing tomes floated midair, their pages turning without hands. Enoch watched as angels dipped quills into rivers of liquid gold, inscribing the fate of harvests, the hour of each sunrise, the lifespan of kings. The Phoenix Gate, a swirling vortex of fire and wings where 6 phoenixes, each with 12 wings, stood guard. Their song tuned the very fabric of time, ensuring the years didn't unravel. One scribe turned to Enoch. "You see the strings," it said, not as a question. And he did. Threads of silver stretched from the books to the earth below, each one tied to a human soul. This was the machinery behind everything. The reason winter knew to fade. The reason a child's first breath happened at the exact millisecond ordained. For the first time, Enoch understood, there were no accidents. Only designs. And the most terrifying thought? He was in the books too. The angels suddenly stilled. The music stopped. A door opened in the sky, and the voice that came through wasn't an angel's. It was his. The seventh heaven awaited. The edge of the throne. The door opened and Enoch's knees buckled, not from light. Not from sound, from the sheer weight pressing down on his soul. This wasn't a place meant for flesh, this was where the universe itself came to kneel. The seventh heaven defied eyes, ears, mind.
The choir of fire, seraphim with 6 wings, 2 covering their faces, 2 covering their feet, 2 stretched toward infinity, circled something so bright it carved shadows into the air. Their song wasn't music. It was earthquake and avalanche and the birth cry of stars all at once. Enoch's bones vibrated with it. The throne's shadow, even at this distance, especially at this distance, Enoch couldn't look directly at it, not the throne itself, but the space around it warped like heat over desert sands, the air smelled like lightning and myrrh. The many-eyed ones, wheels within wheels, covered in eyes that saw every when and where at once, they didn't turn, they were turning, had always been turning, would forever be turning. Then the voice. Not a sound, a presence in his skull, come. The archangel Michael caught Enoch as he collapsed, breathe, he urged, he won't let you break, not yet. This wasn't worship, this was surrender. Every atom in Enoch's body screamed to flee even as his soul strained forward. The horror wasn't that God was terrifying, it was that he was beautiful, and that beauty could unmake a man. Michael's grip tightened. Now you see, he whispered. Now you ascend. To the 8th. To the 9th, to the place even angels feared to name.
The 8th and 9th heavens, the celestial forge. Enoch's body was no longer his own. It had become light thought, a wisp of smoke caught in the updraft of creation. As Michael carried him higher, the heavens themselves seemed to breathe, inhaling, exhaling, as if the cosmos were alive. The 8th heaven, Musaloth, the changer of seasons. A vast, pulsing wheel of constellations, each one a living entity. The 12 zodiacal houses weren't just stars, they were thrones, and upon them sat radiant beings whose robes shifted with the turning year. Enoch saw the strings again, thicker here, golden cords connecting each constellation to the earth below. They pull the seasons, Michael explained. When Aries rises, winter dies. When Libra stirs, the harvest kneels. The 9th heaven, Kuchavim, the heavenly homes. 12 colossal spheres, each a living palace for the constellations. Inside, Enoch witnessed the unmaking and remaking of stars, angels forging new lights in celestial furnaces, quenching them in rivers of liquid time. Then came the shock, Earth's twin. A mirror world suspended above the 9th sphere, pristine, untouched by sin. Eden as it was meant to be, Michael murmured. Before the fall. This was the workshop where reality was tuned. Where every leaf's turn toward the sun, every tide's pull, was calibrated. And the most devastating truth? It still wasn't the end. Michael's wings suddenly blazed white-hot. Now you go alone, he said. And with a push, Enoch fell upward into the 10th heaven, into Erevoth, into the presence of the unseen face.
The 10th heaven, before the unseen face. There was no sound, no light, no time, only him. And in that moment, Enoch understood, he was not standing before God. He was being unmade by him. The ineffable presence, the throne wasn't an object. It was a rupture in existence, edges bleeding into eternity, burning with a fire that gave no warmth. The air didn't tremble. It screamed. Every atom of Enoch's being howled in protest. Flesh was never meant to stand here. Then, the voice. Not words. A pressure against his soul, behold. Enoch's transformation. His robes burst into ash. His skin peeled back like parchment. For one agonizing second, he saw his own skeleton glowing, then new flesh wrapped his bones, woven from strands of divine light. The archangel Pravuel appeared, a flaming stylus in hand. Now you write, scrolls unfurled the true history of the world, from creation to final judgment. Enoch's fingers moved without thought, the words burned as they formed. All souls are known, all paths prepared, even the fallen are remembered. The final revelation. A whisper, softer than death, louder than supernovas. You will return. But not as you are. Then, absence, the throne vanished, Enoch knelt in sudden silence, his new eyes weeping liquid gold. This wasn't rapture. It was annihilation and rebirth, the kind of meeting that leaves no room for questions, only the terrible, glorious certainty that every step of his journey, every horror and wonder, had been seen. The angels lifted him one last time. Below, the 10 heavens spun like a broken clockwork. Ahead, the earth, his home, his grave. And the scrolls in his arms burned with unspoken truth, and so Enoch fell, not as a man, but as a herald. The heavens had seared his mortal heart away. What returned to earth was something sharper, something ready to bleed for the truth. Enoch saw the end from the beginning, the judgment, the glory, the unshakable throne. Now the question falls to us, will we live as if these heavens are real? The scrolls are written, the path is set, but the choice is still yours. Will you ignore the mysteries revealed, or will you seek the one who holds them? Like this journey, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe, because truth isn't just history, it's coming, and when it does, will you be ready?